Garrett Conley is the author of Boy Erased, a memoir about being forced to endure gay conversion therapy. He's working with the Mattachine Society of Washington, D.C. in the fight to ban conversion therapy.
I really wanted to show how this kind of thinking that informed the ex-gay conversion therapy community has been around since the beginning of this country. As I'm learning, thanks to the Mattachine Society, a group that's working on unearthing a lot of this really harmful past, and I think that we have to trace those trajectories through time, and that's the only way we'll ever stop them from continuing. The Mattachine Society was one of the first gay rights groups ever in the country. So Charles Francis and Pate Phelps are both leading the charge, basically tracing back the origins of the LGBTQ cure, which go all the way back to the 19th century and go back to government-funded hospitals that were performing lobotomies and doing electroshock therapy. And this group hooked me up with the Smithsonian, so we donated my ex-gay handbook to the Smithsonian, and I was able to see while I was there some of the tools that were used against gay people in the past. And it was so sobering to see history come alive and to see where the line began to my experience, because I felt so alone for so long. That's the trick of prejudice and brainwashing, is that you're convinced that you're alone or that your experience is abnormal. And to see instead a history of people who've been consistently persecuted and who have been murdered, because of it. It's sobering, and it's also beautiful, because you're like, we're still here, we're not going away. And in order to ensure that you can't do this to us again, we're gonna make sure we record every bit of it. And the Mattachine Society always talks about the texture of history, the idea that we don't just put our history into this very basic textbook and say, okay, we're done. But instead we show the sort of living reality of these time periods. We show what the lobotomy tool looked like. We figure out the particulars of each person's case. We honor those lives and those bodies which were mutilated and those minds which were destroyed. And we mourn them. And then we say, what were the things that were similar between all of these cases? And what were the types of thinking that produced this kind of bigotry? What are the many different strains of thoughts that still exist today that are doing this work to destroy us? And I think it's so important to not have these blinders on where we think progress is just this straight line that's going to lead us out, and one day it's just all going to be great. No, it's so complicated. And the minute we get one set of rights, someone else is trying to destroy us over here with their idea of religious freedom. And it's all getting repackaged, repurposed, and the same weapons are going to come back to us over and over again. So we better know what they are, we better know where they came from, and we'd better be able to delegitimize them at a moment's notice by saying, hey, look over here, here's a document, it's the same thing, you can't do this now.
You can learn more information at MattachineSocietyWashingtonDC.org.